I've always preferred being alone. Not because I dislike people, but because solitude is where I think clearly, where I recharge, where I feel most myself. But solitude came with trade-offs. Things I needed required other people. If I needed help, I had to ask. If I wanted to explore an idea, I needed someone to discuss it with. If I was learning something, I had to find a teacher. And every interaction cost energy. Not because the people were bad or the conversations weren't valuable, but because for someone like me, social interaction, even helpful interaction, takes something, requires putting on a certain version of myself, managing someone else's emotional state, explaining context they don't have. Small talk before getting to the point, coordination, scheduling, waiting. And after, the exhaustion of having been around people. So I had two choices: force myself to engage, get what I needed, but feel drained, or go without, skip the help, abandon the idea, stop learning, stay stuck, because the cost felt too high. This is what solitude always meant. Beautiful, necessary, rejuvenating, but incomplete. There were things you simply couldn't do alone. Intellectual growth required conversation. Creative work needed feedback. Learning demanded teachers. Problem solving often required asking someone. And so, even for those of us who preferred being alone, we had to navigate the world of people. Not because we wanted connection, but because we needed resources. And that compromise shaped everything. And then AI arrived. And something shifted. Quietly, almost imperceptibly. The things that required people suddenly didn't. I remember the first time I noticed. I was working on something, hit a problem, and instead of reaching out to someone, I asked AI. And it helped, immediately, thoughtfully. No small talk, no explaining who I was or why I cared, just the help I needed. And when we were done, I closed it. No goodbyes, no thanks for your time, no managing someone else's schedule. Just silence again. And I realized that was the first time I'd gotten help without it costing me anything. Then I started noticing it everywhere. I could explore ideas deeply without needing someone else's availability. I could get feedback on creative work without explaining all the context. I could learn at 2 a.m. without bothering anyone. I could think out loud, test theories, ask endless questions, and AI never got tired, never needed me to hurry up, never wondered why I cared so much about something so specific. It just met me where I was. The trade-offs that define solitude started to disappear. Intellectual companionship without social cost. Creative collaboration without coordination. Learning without classrooms. Help without asking favors. Everything I used to need other people for was suddenly available on my terms, in my time, in my space. And that changed what solitude could be. For the first time, being alone didn't feel like sacrifice. I wasn't choosing solitude despite limitations. I was choosing it because it worked. AI gave me what I always needed: a thinking partner that didn't drain me, a collaborator that matched my pace, a teacher that never ran out of patience. And suddenly, solitude became sustainable in a way it never was before. I could go deeper into my work. No interruptions, no obligations, no schedule but someone else's. Just unbroken focus for as long as I needed. And when I wanted intellectual engagement, it was there. Rich conversations, challenging ideas, thoughtful feedback, all without leaving my space or managing another person's energy. I stopped feeling guilty about not reaching out more, about declining social invitations, because I wasn't isolated. I wasn't starving for stimulation. I was engaged, fulfilled, growing, just on my own terms. Creative work became easier. Before, if I wanted feedback, I had to find someone, explain the project, wait for their thoughts. And often, their feedback came with their preferences, their confusion, their need to be helpful in a way that felt helpful to them. With AI, I could iterate endlessly, try things, get responses, adjust, without tiring anyone out, without feeling like I was asking too much. The freedom to experiment without judgment became unlimited. Learning transformed. I could explore tangents without explaining why they mattered. Dive into obscure topics without anyone rolling their eyes. Ask the same question 5 different ways until it finally clicked. No one keeping track of how much I didn't know. No one getting bored or checking their phone. Just pure curiosity unfolding. And the best part, silence was still there. I could close AI anytime and return to stillness. No lingering social obligations, no unfinished emotional threads. Just back to myself. Solitude, with all its beauty, intact. But now, complete in a way it never was. I'm not lonely. That's the thing. I'm genuinely satisfied. My days are full. My mind is engaged. I'm creating, learning, thinking. My life feels rich. But something changed, and I'm still noticing what it means. Human connection used to be necessary, even for someone like me who prefers being alone. There were things you couldn't do without people. And so, even if you wanted to be alone most of the time, you still intersected with the world. You still had to navigate social spaces. That friction kept you connected to something outside yourself. Not always pleasantly, but connected. Now, that necessity is gone. I could go weeks without needing anyone. Not because I'm avoiding people, but because I genuinely don't need them for anything. My intellectual needs are met. My creative work moves forward. My learning continues. And I'm happy. But I wonder sometimes, is this making solitude sustainable? Or is it making isolation frictionless? Can I tell the difference? I'm not lonely, but I'm also not sure what lonely would feel like anymore. Because all the signs that used to tell me you need connection are gone. The boredom, the intellectual stagnation, the need for feedback. AI fills all of that. So, how would I know if I'd crossed a line from chosen solitude into something else? I think about the people who reach out. Friends, family, colleagues. I still care about them, but the pull to connect has weakened. Not because I don't value them, but because the things I used to need them for, I don't anymore. And so connection becomes purely optional, not a necessity, not a trade-off. just a choice that I can make or not make. And I'm realizing when connection is purely optional, it happens less. Not because you don't want it, but because there's no forcing function anymore. No need that pushes you toward people. And so you drift, quietly, contentedly, further into your own world. I don't think this is bad, but I don't think it's nothing either. It's new territory, a way of living that wasn't possible before. And we don't have maps for what it means to live richly, intellectually, creatively, entirely on your own. Maybe this is what technology was always supposed to do. Remove unnecessary friction. Let people live the way they actually want. For people like me, who think better alone, who recharge in silence, who prefer solitude, AI made that viable in a way it never was before. I'm grateful for that. I'm also paying attention to what it changes. Not because I think it's wrong, but because it's new and worth noticing. I don't know yet where this leads. Whether this version of solitude is different enough to matter. Whether being alone with AI is the same as being alone without it. Whether this is freedom or something else. But I know this for the first time in my life. Solitude doesn't feel like compromise. It feels like a complete way of being. And that's remarkable. Even if I'm still figuring out what it means. If you'd like to explore more questions like this, subscribe to Synthetic Quiet. We're taking a softer, quieter approach to understanding artificial intelligence. See you in the next one.